The 1980s were a fun time in America. Saturday mornings were lit with Ninja Turtles, the original Nintendo Entertainment System debuted in America, and sports kept fans on the edge of their seats. The Lakers and Celtics dominated. They were juggernauts of the NBA. Mike Tyson put the boxing world on notice, and Major League Baseball was so competitive it was difficult to tell who dominated the decade. But in the National Football League, three teams made their names known and put on for their respective cities. Number one was the San Francisco 49ers, number two, the Denver Broncos, and number three, those cardiac kid Cleveland Browns. If you were a Browns fan in the 80s, then you know about the downs, of course. But in this episode, we're going to focus on the highs and what made the Cleveland Browns a force in the NFL in the 1980s. This episode is dedicated to all my Browns fans of yesteryear. The 100th episode is coming up next. Between the years of 1979 and 1980, the Cleveland Browns earned the nickname the Cardiac Kids due to winning games in close, anxiety-driven, heart-attack fashion. They would finish the season with an 11-5 record in 1980 and make the postseason, losing to the Raiders 14-12 in what would be known as Red Right 88. From there, the Browns would struggle between 1981 and 1984 until October 15th of 84, where Browns coach Sam Rutigliano would be fired after a 1-7 start and Marty Schottenheimer will fill in as interim head coach. For the remainder of the season, the team would finish 5-11, with Schottenheimer breaking even at 4-4 and third in the AFC Central. 1985, things began to look up as the Dog Pound finished at 500 in an even 8-8 season, clinching the division crown before falling to a Dan Marino-led Dolphins team in a divisional round in the playoffs. Between 1986 and 1989, the Browns would see the most success yet, reaching 3 AFC title games in 4 years, 4 division titles, compiling a record of 49-29-1. So what was it that made the Browns so dominant in the later half of the 80s? Number one, the Dog Pound fan base. Browns fans were so off the chain they banned certain things from the stadium. Fans were rowdy with at least 80,000 packing Cleveland Municipal Stadium every Sunday and throwing milk bones, rocks, batteries, and other objects at opposing teams. Sneaking a keg of beer inside the stadium using a doghouse, fans would get college frat house wasted week after week. Their misbehavior and ratchetness impacted the outcome of many football games, especially one against the Broncos in 1989. The Dog Pound earled the rain of batteries, rocks, eggs, and other debris coming down from the bleachers. That endangered the safety of Broncos players so bad that they had to move the action away from the end of the stadium. Referee Tom Dooley at the time made the team switch sides, which put the wind at the Browns' back. The Browns would win the game on a Matt Barr field goal that barely cleared the crossbar. So if you thought Bottlegate in 2001 was off the chain, man, go ahead and go back to the 80s. Or talk to somebody that lived in the 80s that was a Browns fan. And they'll explain and maybe even show you what the real Dog Pound is. Number two, Marty Schottenheimer. Marty Schottenheimer placed the style of football that was smash mouth, punch you in your damn face. That style produced 2,000-yard rushers in the same season. Kevin Mack and Ernest Biner produced the best cornerback tandems in the NFL. Frank Minifield and Hanford Dixon. And of course, who could forget the Browns' great quarterback of the Super Bowl era, Bernie Kosar. He got the Browns to 2 AFC title games, and when you have a system that players can buy into, you're going to have winning results. They may not have gotten to the Super Bowl, but they were still easily one of the top teams in the NFL and definitely in Super Bowl contention year after year. Remember how excited you were when the Browns was busting everybody's ass? Marty Schottenheimer is the greatest Browns coach in the Super Bowl era. Which leads me to my final point, chemistry. Throughout the season and some of the playoffs, the Browns just flowed beautifully. The offensive line moved as one, receivers and quarterbacks were on the same page, and all 11 players on defense flew to the ball like flies fly to You get it. In order to be a winning team, you have to have chemistry. Everybody has to communicate. Everybody has to know where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there. And the 1980s Cleveland Browns always did that. The Cleveland Browns of the 1980s will always be legendary. And even though they fell one play short or one stand short, they've left us with way too many memories to reflect on and to be happy about. And I believe that not too long from now, the Cleveland Browns can get there again because they've got a great defense right now and they've got a stellar offense. Now, depending on what happens with Deshaun Watson, we don't know if he's going to play this year or not. But you got Jacoby Brissett, who's a solid backup, and Browns fans should still be excited regardless of the Watson outcome. You guys have a bright future. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm Rico McGee. This has been the 100th episode of the Sports Minute. And as always, we'll see you in a minute. Thank you, Browns fans, for all your support of my show.